Assassination Classroom Season 1, Episode 12. Time is flying by so fast. Fishing for delinquents. And then murder them? We murder them. Oh, fleece them, okay. That's not as fun. They are! That's true, actually. I thought about that. I used to get really annoyed, actually, in a very selfish way, back when I was in the habit of partying year-round. It's hard to explain, but like suddenly in late spring, early summer, all these fresh people come in who don't have a lot of experience going out. And so it gets a little bit rougher and more volatile, and not in a good way. And it's like, what? You're a degenerate, you're a delinquent, and you were wrapped up in a warm, cozy blanket at home? I only respect year-round delinquency. If you can't handle the cold, you deserve to be tied to a rope and fleeced. Oh, it's more baseball. Maybe this is the baseball episode. I thought we had it already, but... Okay, I wasn't able to be on the team, right? It's too painful for me to see baseball. That, surprisingly, is not true. I sort of don't blame them for thinking that. Yeah, it was kind of arrogant. I thought he was defending him at first, but he was not. Wait, he's throwing down a gauntlet. That's fair. I'm gonna go beat him in baseball. I also see a enormous physical gap and height gap. Shouldn't you be at the office? This guy looks like he has a 401k. Wait a minute, is this a new opening? Oh yeah, are we at that point? Yeah, I guess we are. But it's also a dance party. It's still a dance party. The school festival never ends. This one also is going to lay down some philosophy, it seems. Their disadvantage, though, also can be an advantage, I think. There's an edge to people sleeping on you. Move in silence. That's a very interesting line, but cool. Go away. Have we moved on from Savage Youth? We are now in the revolution phase. We never really touched on Savage Youth, though. I want to know more about Savage Youth. I only know about it from the intro. I was hoping it would be something we go into. Maybe we will at some point. It's an interesting intro. I don't know if I would love it just as a song, though it's got good energy. What I think makes it really potent is the fact that it's the student singing it. It connects to the story, and also there's a thematic element to it, which is cool. It captures kind of that weird anxiety of hope, which also I think is captured really well overall by the show, where like, yeah, you don't know, right? There's a dark side of the moon to hope, which is the pain of not having any guarantee, knowing that it all could come to nothing, or worse, be a total disaster. And so you're just putting in a lot of energy and effort and time and dreams and tears to something that just could blow up in your face and make you look stupid. There's an act of strength that goes into attempts at dream fulfillment. It's not always glamorous or beautiful. I was listening to something recently where the way they were thinking about it was when they looked at the path they were on, it looked like a guaranteed outcome that they hated versus a chance at something that they would really love. And phrased that way, it's sort of obvious, right? Not that that makes it easy. Episode 12, Ball Game Tournament Time. Class is cancelled for baseball. It's time to prepare. Yeah, that's par for the course, right? But if you beat the winners, just spiritually, that's a huge win, right? I can't wait to get into his story because he's one of the most interesting to me so far. Not with that attitude. It does feel that way sometimes, right? This is much better. That's cool that he phrased it as impossible and then said he wants to win. It also is really great that he took that criticism from Koro-sensei and used it productively instead of giving up. I think most people give up when they hit that point where, you know, the mountain looks small from the distance and then you get to the base and you're like, didn't really want to climb it anyway. No one said this was going to be difficult, and sometimes that realization is delivered in the form of feedback. A lot of people would want to continue to believe that they are the best without any evidence or any work, and so it becomes a game of like dancing around any contrary information, which might include just giving the thing up completely, because then you get to hold on to that impression of yourself forever. Of course he's on board. Yes, this is what I was hoping for. Lessons through baseball. This is a terrible sports spirit. You guys should watch Haikyuu. You should cry and reflect on your failures and have hope for the future. This chosen one thing is great. What's kind of funny about it, what makes me kind of like him, is that I think usually this kind of thinking isn't held by winners. This is more a perception that people who have trouble winning project onto winners. The chosen thing, I think, is more a refuge of people who don't know how to navigate things and don't know how to improve and don't know how to have hope for the future. So the way it gets explained away is like, well, there were just kind of categories from birth. Of course, there are going to be people who excel at things that do think this in some way or another, that think they're chosen. But I think people who actually achieve success through virtuous action, like dedication and hard work, they're more likely to understand that it's not a guarantee, that it's a fragile thing, their success, and also more likely to evaluate people across virtues rather than results. Typically, it's when you're more insecure, less secure in your own standing that you feel compelled to criticize or put down others. People who really love things and have crafted their skills typically, I think, are good-hearted and love to see people come up in that same world because it's like another ally. So for him to be the one laying down this philosophical barrier to the losers, if it's deliberate, it's so cruel, it's kind of hilarious. Or else he might just be extremely lucky and athletic or something. There's another way to look at this, which I don't think he's doing, but the chosen or not chosen element isn't about natural ability, natural intelligence, or material circumstances necessarily. The distinction is about how early, how quickly one becomes aware of their own role in their own lives. How much can you see your own potential and see your own role in your potential? Not everyone necessarily has the same level of conception about that. And there's a bootstrap paradox or something to it where you can't will yourself to it. You have to start seeing it to begin willing yourself towards it. It's also possible he's just laying down a challenge, you know? Or it could just be a total jerk, and I'm way overreading it, as always. That's impressive. How is he using forced perspective from like all angles? That's amazing. So we didn't do any practice? Did we practice? We didn't see any practice. You can't just walk into a baseball field cold. Maybe we'll get a training flashback. What is that in American? I guess it's just motivation. Maybe this helps him win at baseball. I'm so fascinated by this character for some reason. 1, 2, 3. You can't do anything about their bunting? It's a glaring weakness. How could they possibly be getting on base or doing anything that isn't a total failure? Okay, there it is. This sort of had to be here. That's embarrassing. If you can take that heat, you can take any heat from a pitch. This is sort of a violation of privacy, but by any means, I guess, we must win at baseball. Or all he has. Cold. They really broke this down. That's really great. That's such a great idea. That's amazing. And it feels true to form and true to morals for their class. Break it down and analyze it. But we gotta hit a home run just for, moral satisfaction. And it's gotta be Sugino. This is a fake out. I'll show you who's a chosen one. There he goes. They got in his head too. Not a home run, but that's great. You suck. You're not one of the chosen ones. This is how it's supposed to go. Even the announcer. We're gonna score 10-0 and get the game called. It's the only logical decision. The way he says these things, it makes it feel like your life is at stake. He might actually be in trouble. It looks like he died. He's taking an interest. Yeah, I'm not prepared to write this principal off yet. I think he's got a lot to offer. You're out of the class. At least you couldn't have been worse than our resident refrigerator. It's funny like how much and how severely they want to step on them. Like it's only the first inning and they only have, 3 runs? And it's the end game. Let's see how your logic stacks up against our raw heart. Oh, they're trying to cancel the bunt, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be an answer to that, right? But then any real hit is multiple bases. So you admit it. And then you invalidate it, okay. This is terrible education, though, and also not that logical. Getting through the opponent's part of it is correct. Sports kind of is a winner-take-all thing, right? That's part of the utility of it. You get to engage in that arena of life and learn from it because it is a real function of life, though it's not the totality of life, thankfully. It's an exploration of merit and an experiment on what values to cultivate in meritocratic domains. But the destiny categorization, I think, is dangerous. Not even because of the cruel spirit towards others. I think it sets yourself up for failure, because if you believe that your success or failure will come down to destiny, essentially what you're doing is you're outsourcing your own abilities. You're relinquishing a lot of your grip on your life and your future. Whereas I think the goal is to take as much of that as possible. It's hard fought to get any of it. There's so many things out of our control. You don't want to part with any of the tools you actually do have towards being able to influence your own direction. And destiny, chosen one, all that stuff. Yeah, it feels great if you believe in it and if you see signs of it. It's comforting to believe, but it makes you kind of fragile, I think. This is the classic smart kid in school trap. Being told that you're such a genius because you're doing well at a certain point in school, that you're so gifted. What happens when you start failing chemistry and physics and have to try to explain that to yourself and others through the lens of you being the chosen one? I'll tell you what happens. You end up completely dropping out of high school. Which is way more fun than baseball, let's be real. I want to drink the tears of my enemies, hear the crunch of their skulls under my feet. Alright, what's the score? 3-0? In hindsight, what was the other coach doing? He made no adjustments. He deserves to have an illness and leave. He's not wrong. There's something to that, right? I mean, that, like I said, that kind of is sports. It's a testing ground. Yeah, a little bit behind there. We know he has pitching talent. I don't know, this will kind of bother me. Get out of my ear, man. I'm trying to focus. He's foaming at the mouth. Psychological warfare. You're afraid to lose. Or you're stupid. Well, think about it as a chance to hurt them with the baseball since they're so close. That's what you like, right? He's riled up. He's ready to go. I think there's a place for both, probably. Not the cheap tricks part, but ingenuity, strategy. Haikyuu, I think, is the perfect, or as best as you can possibly get, thesis on this thing. The question of in pursuit towards a goal. Out of all these variables that go into things, being process-oriented versus results-oriented, structure versus wild experimentation, hard work versus natural talent, etc., etc., etc. What is the right tool for the job and when? And my interpretation of Haikyuu's answer, which I love, is to all of those deliberations, the answer is yes. Those are all tools at your disposal. But there's something that is higher and more fundamental to it, which is hard to put into words, but it's something like clarity of goal powered by spirit. And if you have that right, if you have a clear trajectory and a lot of power behind your motion towards that trajectory, you will, by necessity, find the right tool for any particular job. Because the wrong tool will be so painful and incremental success so joyous that it becomes so obvious what you have to do that there is no waste deliberating on your chances of success or over analysis. It's like a magnetic force that is now leading you forward. So to the question of what is the differences between them, I'm going to guess Koro Sensei is probably something similar in that he's looking at a deeper level of fundamental values for the students. And over time, that will win out. Oh no, they're turning it around on them. It's sports though. I mean, so far this is pretty reasonable and fair, I think. The best team should win. I don't want an easy win or a cheap win. Foaming at the mouth intensifies. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. You gotta seal it with a home run for spiritual reasons. Yeah, now they are forced to contradict themselves if they don't like this. Though fairness is not guaranteed. This is dangerous for you. This is highly disruptive. I don't know. I wouldn't trust this. I wouldn't trust him to be reasonable. Your job is to trample the innocent or whatever. He did swing. What is he making? Lucky Charms yogurt? It's magically delicious? It is bizarre. Wow. Nice play though. That actually was some great baseball right there. Game over? What is it, a 1-inning game? Wow, that was real sudden death baseball. The battle of wits. I like this growing rivalry though. That's funny. I think this will make the principal feel excited, honestly. I think he's gonna enjoy this. No, trample his skull. Step on the weak. I don't think the competition element is important though. There's room for us both. Very pure. Yeah, this is good. This is more in the spirit of things. This also is very Haikyuu. We'll play again. I'll see you in the next match. That also was very Karate Kid. Like the coach, win at all costs, sweep the leg, the black magic of karate. It's hard to get a full feel on his character with the chosen one thing, but I do think it's an important concept, and I think it's a pitfall everyone falls into in one way or the other. Just that pattern of over-categorizing things and treating the category as the reality, which is the reverse, right? Categories are a way of trying to abstract and patternize the reality. The category doesn't create the reality. It's an observational metric. It's an effect, not a cause. It's a late indicator, not a leading indicator. But often it feels like it's the reverse. It feels like the quality, the assessment, is the thing from which all results stem. But then again, depending, I can imagine this being useful. I mean, if this is just like a mindset thing to get oneself in the spirit of competition, trying to get some emotional fuel, then, I mean, it could work, but you got to be careful with that, and you definitely got to leave it on the field.